Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 25th Annual Veterans Day service at the New England Kurn Hattin Homes. I am Richard Long. I will be the Master of Ceremonies today. I'd like to publicly thank all those men and women that have served our country in the various military branches. At this time, I would ask that we observe a moment of silence for all those that paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Nuna Thrash of our 6th grade to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were clear, the bombs bursting in air. They proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
For the past 25 years, the students at Kurn Hattin in our upper classes have participated in the Veterans of Foreign Wars Patriots Pen Essay Contest. Our service associations provide many opportunities for students to demonstrate their academic skills. The Carl Desant Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 1034 of Brattleboro, Vermont, is one such organization. Kurn Hattin has been supported by the members of this organization as they sponsor the Patriots Pen Essay Contest. As a result, Kurn Hattin students have been recognized at the local, district, and state competitions for their work. This year, 13 students completed the essay. The title of the essay was, "What is Patriotism to Me?" 4 essayists have volunteered to read their entries. Our first reader is the 2019 defending District Essay Contest champion, Deja Nasta.
What is patriotism? In my opinion, it is loyalty to a nation. Thomas Jefferson said, "Patriotism is not a short, frenzied burst of emotion, but the long and steady dedication of a lifetime." Patriotism is a feeling of love and devotion to our country. Patriotism is shown by people in the military because they are loyal to the nation when they fight and risk their lives for our country. That is love and devotion to the nation. When people say the Pledge of Allegiance, they are taking an oath of loyalty to our country. Being loyal to your country means you are loyal to your fellow countrymen. People put their differences and problems aside and help each other in a time of need. That is showing patriotism, because they are showing their loyalty to the country and the countrymen. Hurricane Katrina caused $161 billion in damage. Americans made donations and went to the Gulf Coast to help rebuild homes and communities. Simple acts of patriotism happen every day. They might not come up in the headlines of a magazine or a newspaper, but they still happen, and they still strengthen our country. Citizens from communities all around the world send packages to people in uniform they never met because they are concerned and thankful. It is not just people in the military who show big acts of patriotism. It is the police and firefighters too. Police and firefighters save people they Police go out on a job, and you never know what could happen. They risk their lives to make America a better place by taking the crime out and leaving the good. Some people think police are bad and evil, but they are not actually. The majority of the police are not crooked. The majority care for the country and community, and that I feel is patriotism. Firefighters risk their lives in extinguishing fires. They go into buildings on fire and rescue anyone who is in there. They also go to different states to help fight raging wildfires. This also shows patriotism. This is what patriotism is to me. It might be different from other people, but as Congressman Charles Jefferson said, a man is a patriot if his heart beats true to his country.
Our second essayist is Logan White.
What is patriotism? Patriotism to me is the way people act to respect their country. There are many ways people commit acts of patriotism every single day. The first way I see people commit acts of patriotism is fighting in the army. People fight every day for our country. Being a fireman or a policeman is also patriotic. They take these jobs to protect people every day. Third act of patriotism is knowing that this world isn't perfect. You can make all the decisions in the world, but this world will never be perfect. People fight every day for a country in the army. It does not necessarily mean fighting either. You could be helping injured soldiers in the medical department. You could also be ordering the soldiers' battle wounds. Even if you're working in the control room, you are still helping out and are one of the most important parts. You may also survey your surrounding area to make sure that nothing critical can be exposed to enemy forces. Fighting for our country is one of the highest honors. Being a policeman or a fireman is a tough job. You risk your life every day to keep your community safe. You can live in the little town of wherever, or even the big city of Los Angeles. If you are a policeman or a fireman, you help a lot. It is huge for people to know that there is someone to count on that will keep them safe and that will always help them in their times of need. People need that reassurance to live out their lives freely. It is tough for a cop or fireman to do their job, but it helps to know that someone is out there to help. Knowing this world is imperfect is something you need in your life, and it's something important to know. Acknowledging that people have done wrong in the past is an act of patriotism, because if you do not acknowledge the wrongdoings people have done, you will have a wrong understanding of the world. We have had some people do things in the past that have shaped our society into what it is now. We cannot disrespect that, but we also cannot just turn our backs on the wrongdoings of others. If we want to be patriotic, we must acknowledge the wrongdoings of others and the world and change them with our power of community.
Student speaker is Gabrielle Elmore Brown.
I think patriotism means love and devotion for our country. Also, it could mean taking pride in where you live or taking responsibility. Someone could show patriotism in their country by supporting a veteran, singing the national anthem, or putting up the American flag correctly. I think the most important detail in showing patriotism is taking pride in where you live or responsibility, like contributing, cleaning, donating things or money, and helping your neighbors. Also, people need to take into consideration that your community or country could be peaceful, clean, unharmful, and free, because some communities or countries could be poor, unpleasant, and dreadful. Patriotism could also mean ethnicity, cultural, and political, so that can include voting, sharing cultures like eating food of that culture. You may also have different types of parades of the culture, and you can show your ethnicity by having days where people try your culture's different types of foods or take pride in your flag. Some people show patriotism like the people in the army, because they love their country and want to support it by fighting even though it means they could die. Also, another country that shows patriotism is India, because they express their culture by playing patriotic songs, decorating schools and institutes, and raising slogans. One quote that I think is important to this essay is by President John F. Kennedy. This quote says, "Let every nation know whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. I think the best example of patriotism is when Hurricane Katrina hit. Millions of Americans made charitable donations and many went to the Gulf Coast to help rebuild communities. Personally, I believe in patriotism because I live here and I love where I live and I take pride in it. This is why I believe in patriotism, and I think other people should believe in it too and take pride and responsibility in where they live no matter what.
Our next student speaker is True Martell.
What is patriotism to me? What is patriotism? Patriotism to me may be different than what it is to you. To me, patriotism is being loyal to a country. It also means you'll be willing to protect this country at any cost. National pride is a big thing in patriotism, which means most importantly, you cannot leave out civic virtue. Civic virtue is a very important concept when you're talking about patriotism. Civic virtue is a standard and a goal, but to me it is a duty to give back and help the community. Civic virtue is a way of people showing who they really are to this country. Patriotism is when people are willing to protect this country at any cost. This is important to me because patriotism to me is when you love your country, and if you love your country, you would be willing to fight for it no matter what is happening in the world. This country would not be the same if the people who had patriotism did not fight for it. I believe in being loyal to your country is like everyone is trusting the world to you and is expecting you to do what is right and good for the country. But by being loyal to this country means you have patriotism. National pride is when you love your country. When you have national pride, when you love your country, you call it nationalism. See, if I had perfect patriotism or nationalism, I would be doing something for the greater good. But knowing that I am a teenager, and knowing a lot of teenagers that would be doing what they want and not for the greater good. Want to know the difference between me and the Founding Fathers? I'm not an old man sitting around making laws and amendments, but I still have patriotism. Therefore, you ask a question that a lot don't know about what they're writing about. So they are writing in confusion, but I understand it perfectly. So if you want an honest opinion, you should ask the question most understand. So in the words of George Washington, guard against the impostures of pretend patriotism.
In closing, I would like to thank the Kurn Hattin community, our select choir, all our staff, and ultimately the children of Kurn Hattin who have worked hard to make this observance very special the past 25 years. The world to the veterans, and it means a lot to our children and staff, and I want you to know from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you.
Please be